have 25 countries represented plus Puerto Rico, but I have the list here. Don't worry, guys. Egypt is not on the list. Don't worry about that.
Since Charlie's death, Erika Kirk, his widowed wife, has risen to become the CEO of Turning Point USA, which is one of the most powerful political groups in the United States. In our last video, we dug into her past, the modeling, the reality shows, the dating, despite claims to the contrary. Definitely go check that out if you haven't yet. But there's something we overlooked last time. The roommate who she mentioned.
What I'll say is, when I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was.
So who was this roommate? Well, it turns out her roommate is not just some random person. It is actually a family member who is going to unlock for us an entire family tree that upends her well-curated image and potentially expose her connection to a complex network of financial fraud, casino gambling, and foreign influence, allegedly. Now, before we dive in, I just want to say that everything I'm about to tell you is verifiable. It's in the public domain. You can look it up for yourself. None of it is speculation. This is Erika Kirk, then Franzvi, with her roommate at the time, Nicole Rothstein.
Merry Thanksgiving to you. Merry Thanksgiving to you. Merry Thanksgiving to you.
And Nicole Rothstein, as it turns out, is her cousin. How do we know that? Well, she responded to this clip featuring Erika Kirk talking about her Shabbat Shaloming. And she responded by saying, quote, as her cousin, who is fully Jewish, half of her family is Jewish. While she herself is a Christian, she has celebrated many Jewish holidays with our side of the family and highly respects the Jewish religion. You can see the name and handle, Nicole Rothstein. Now, I'm glad I archived that because if you go and look for that Nicole Rothstein account right now, I'm pretty sure it's no longer there. Now, Nicole Rothstein's father is a guy named Allan Rothstein, who you could see in this Instagram post is sitting next to her. And Erika Kirk writes, there's something powerful about God's strategic planning when it comes to the people he has surrounding you. How blessed I am to have individuals like Uncle Allan in my life that are filled with spirit. Now, this is where things start to get pretty interesting because the next logical question would be, who is this uncle of hers, Allan Rothstein? Well, I was able to find this SEC document that lists one Allan P. Rothstein, and I've confirmed that this is the same person. And here it describes him as a member of the board of directors of this company called Innumerable, which will come up later, so remember that name. He's also owned another company called Shazoom LLC, remember that as well, a business funding company. And from 2002 through 2007, Mr. Rothstein was the co-founder and chairman of a company called Nano Dynamics Incorporated. Now, it sounds all pretty impressive, but as it turns out, with a little bit more digging, Mr. Allan Rothstein, Erika's uncle, may have been quite the sketchy guy. For Nano Dynamics, it looks like he was sued in bankruptcy court, and from what I'm told, in bankruptcy terms, when a trustee sues a director or a founder like Allan Rothstein, it is believed typically that that person may have taken money out of the company improperly before it collapsed. And then remember the company Innumerable, which he served on the board of directors. That was apparently a penny stock that traded on the OTC markets before also going bankrupt. And then there's this company Shazoom LLC, which if you remember is a business funding company. And based on my research, it seems like Shazoom LLC has almost zero footprint, no major client reviews, no press releases of funded deals, no industry presence. And for a quote unquote business funding company to have no track record of funding businesses suggests it might be just a shell company, a vehicle used to move money around rather than conducting actual commerce. So pretty interesting who Erika looks up to. And the Rothsteins, I'm just going to add, is a pretty famous crime family in American history.
If you look up the 1919 World Series, it says that the Cincinnati Red Stockings won the 1919 World Series. There's no asterisk, but then those numbers require you to tell a story about the Chicago White Sox, known to us forever as the Black Sox, who took money from Arnold Rothstein and other gamblers to throw the 1919 World Series.
Arnold Rothstein, nicknamed The Brain, was an American racketeer, crime boss, businessman, and gambler who became a kingpin of the Jewish mob in New York City. Rothstein was widely reputed to have organized corruption in professional athletics, including conspiring to fix the 1919 World Series. He was also a mentor of future crime bosses Lucky Luciano, Mayor Lansky, Frank Costello, Bugsby Siegel, and numerous others. Interesting family history, I would say, for the all-American girl next door. Oh, but the rabbit hole gets even darker when we look at another family connection. This is Erika's aunt, Carla Solomon, née Franz V. This family connection is even more wild, so buckle up here. This is the obituary for Carl Kenneth Franz V, who is Erika's grandfather. I just want to make sure that these connections are established using credible sources. Here you could see Erika listed as one of his grandchildren, and you can see here under children, there's Kent, who is Erika's father, and Carla, who is Erika's aunt, which we'll get into right now. According to Clark County records, Erika's aunt, Carla, married a man named Jack D. Solomon. And as it turns out, Erika's uncle, we'll call him Uncle Jack, was the target of a federal investigation on casino-related stock fraud. This is a document I found from the SEC dated August 2nd, 1983, and it says that, quote, the San Francisco branch office announced that on July 20th, a complaint was filed in the federal district court in Las Vegas, Nevada, seeking permanent injunctions against Jack D. Solomon and Norman L. Vance, both of Las Vegas. The complaint charges Solomon and Vance with violations of the registration and anti-fraud provisions of the Securities Act of 1933 and the anti-fraud provisions of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 in connection with selling and otherwise distributing approximately 8.7 million shares of unregistered stock of Gaming and Technology, Inc., formerly known as Advanced Patent Technology, Inc., a publicly held Nevada corporation. Essentially, the scheme was that he was selling unregistered stock to fund his gambling empire, and this investigation is what ultimately forced him out of the casino industry. But 15 years later, Jack found himself back in court on another fraud charge, this time related to a company called Biomune Systems. Quote, plaintiff asserts this action arises from a fraud of massive proportions, generally consisting of a scheme to obtain Biomune's listing on NASDAQ, manipulate Biomune's finances, and inflate the price of Biomune stock in order to dump thousands of Biomune shares on the market and earn millions of dollars in profits. So this sounds sort of like a classic pump and dump scheme here. So overall, what these documents prove is a 20-year pattern. You see, back in the 80s, it was casinos, and then here in the 90s, it was biotech. But in every decade, the tactic is the same, which is to use family and connections to manipulate markets. And now, Jack D. Solomon's niece-in-law, Erika Kirk, just so happens to be running one of the largest political, or maybe the largest political youth organizations in the United States, with hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through the organization. I just want to remind people that about a week before he died, Charlie Kirk sent out this internal memo calling for a quote-unquote Doge-style investigation or audit into the finances of Turning Point USA. So perhaps Charlie suspected that something nefarious, something shady might have been going on within the company's finances, and he wanted to find out what it was. We don't know that for sure, but it certainly seems very plausible. And the other question we should ask is, if money is indeed flowing out of the organization in some kind of secret manner, where could that money be going? Well, I found out that Jack Solomon is a major donor to international Zionist causes like the Jerusalem Foundation, and he also serves as a trustee for Hebrew University, which just so happens to be Israel's leading public research university, founded in 1918 and opened in 1925. I mean, don't you guys find it kind of interesting that TPUSA is aggressively, almost militantly pro-Israel, more so than it is sometimes pro-America?
We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor, how could you hate that place?
So just summing everything up, if you trace back through her family tree, on one side you have the Rothsteins, and the other you have the Solomons, both each with a long and storied history connected through her roommate and cousin, Nicole Rothstein, and her aunt, Carla Francevy, later on Carla Solomon. And sitting right in the middle of everything is Erika Kirk, the new CEO of Turning Point USA. So I'll ask again, who is Erika Kirk? Is she just an innocent widow who has now been thrust into the limelight because of the tragic death of her husband? Or is there maybe something more going on here? Final thing, fun little breadcrumb for everybody here. How many stars are on this American flag for this America Fest 2025 logo? Pause and count the number of stars in this flag. That is it for me this week. I just want to say this was a huge group effort among a number of different decentralized journalists to put this work together. Can't do it without them. And I would also invite you to the party. Get involved, see what you can find, because this is now into an area, or this is getting into an area that is not really my expertise. So do a little dig, see what you can find. And if you want to support my journalism, you can become a member by going over to my website, 5149jameslee.com. You can also find yourself some merch there. But if you aren't able to contribute monetarily, that's no problem. All this information will always be free. Just take a second to like this video, share with as many people as you can so we can grow our community. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell so you can be the first to know when my next video drops. And as always, I'd love to thank you for your time, and I will see you in the next one.
In the words of my husband, buckle up, because there is a lot of content to be had, and we have so many amazing things down the pipeline that we are working on currently that will
unveil in due time.
I am so excited.
Yeah.